In this session, I am going to talk on digital time stamping. But before getting into the topic, let me introduce what is a timestamp. A timestamp is an information, usually date and time, for identifying when a certain event has occurred. The term is derived from rubber stamps used in offices to stamp the current date and time on a document to record when the document is received. We are now in digital era and are using e-documents. Therefore, the term timestamp is often referred to the digital date and time attached to the digital data or documents. A timestamp is the time at which an event is recorded by a computer, not the time of the event itself. For example, you created a document at 11 hours, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and the timestamp is attached by the system at 11 hours, 5 minutes and 0 seconds. So here, the latter time will be taken as the timestamp. Now let us discuss what is timestamping. The practice of recording timestamps in consistent manner along with the actual data is called as timestamping. Why do we need timestamping? To support assertions of proof, we need timestamping. It is required for documents meant for wide distribution or for long-term storage and archiving purposes. What is trusted timestamping? If the timestamps are provided by a trusted third-party service, then it is called as trusted timestamping. Now the question is, why trusted third party is required when a user's computer can be used to record a timestamp? To answer this, let us consider this example. The digital certificates issued by CAs or messages can be signed after a signing key is expired or has been revoked and could be backdated if the timestamps are recorded using the personal computer. And since the local time of a user's computer can be manipulated, leading to the fraudulent time on a document, there is a need of a trusted third party who shall provide the trusted timestamp. Now, what are the key benefits of timestamping? It provides accurate time in conformance with government guidelines. It also provides digitally signed timestamps. Now, what is the relevance of digitally signed timestamps? The digitally signed timestamps provides you integrity of the timestamp and non-repetition of the timestamp. The trusted third party who has provided the timestamp cannot deny it later. When you are digitally signing the timestamp, then the digital signature of the timestamp can be verifiable in the future. It also provides fraud detection capability, and it also helps us in representing the correct time, accurate time in electronic notary. Confidentiality can be achieved using the timestamps by way of protecting it from the public exposure. It means that when I am sending my data or document to the timestamping authority for affixing the timestamp, then my data will be transmitted in the message digest format. So confidentiality is achieved. Now, how timestamping works? For timestamping to be implemented, you need to have a timestamping client, that is your application, and you need to have a timestamping server, that is timestamping authority. Now, what is the process of timestamp? Let me give an example. I want to digitally sign a document and I want to affix a timestamp on that document. So here I am talking about the trusted timestamp. So I have created a document and then my application will compute the hash of that document. Now this hash of the document will be sent by my application to the timestamping authority. The timestamping authority picks up the current timestamp and computes a collective hash of my received hash of the document and the timestamp. So it gets a new hash value. So now this new hash value will be encrypted using the private key of the timestamping authority, which is called as a digital signature. So the digital signature of the timestamp is created. Now the digital signature of the timestamp plus the timestamp, these two values are sent back to the user. Now the user application takes the digital signature of the timestamp and appends it to my original document. So my document has become digitally time-stamped document. Now let us discuss about validation of a timestamp. I have sent you a digitally timestamped document. Now you want to validate the timestamp which is there in my document. So your application will take hash of the document. Now the hash of the document is concatenated or appended with the timestamp and a collective hash is computed. So the new message digest is achieved. Now and on the other hand, your document is also containing the digital signature of the timestamp. So in order to get the hash value out of this digital signature, you need to apply the public key of the timestamping authority. So when you apply the public key of the timestamping authority by decrypting it, you get the message digest out of it. Now compare these two message digests. If both are same, then the validation of the timestamp is successful. Let me list out the use cases of timestamping: office automation workflows, financial transactions, e-filing of tax returns, share trading. Couple of more applications or use cases are emails, contracts, medical records, e-tendering, e-procurement, patent, trademark and geographical indicators filing, code signing, etc. The National Physical Laboratory of India is responsible for maintenance and development of the Indian Standard Time. So NPLI maintains the time scale of Indian Standard Time with the help of a commercial cesium atomic clock. The time scale maintained by NPLI is designated as UTC. All the timestamping authorities should synchronize their master clocks with the NPLI based time scale within the accuracy. In India, timestamping services are provided by certifying authorities as it is mandated through CCA guidelines. The key points that were mentioned in the timestamping guidelines for CAs are: the CA shall not issue a timestamping certificate other than for its own timestamping service. The timestamping service provided by CA should be logically and physically separate from the CA systems. However, CA can use the same physical infrastructure and resources. To conclude, timestamping services are one of the most important components in the trusted computing infrastructure. It helps us in keeping track of the transactions and it also helps us in preventing the frauds.